Hey, this is Paul Procise. Thanks for dropping in. Hey, I was given a little inside information. I don't know if that's the correct term, but somebody said, hey, look at this. This is interesting. And so I was like, all right, let me look at this. Now, a lot of you guys know that I left politics, left social commentary, and I stopped really paying any attention for many years. And so I'm just kind of getting back into this, and I'm like looking at everything from a fresh lens. And so I don't really know a whole crap load of everything. And so, I was kind of putting my head in the sand for 4 years of the Trump presidency. So I honestly, I'm catching up. And so, I knew about Davos and I knew about the World Economic Forum. I'm not ignorant. I'm not dumb, but I also, know about a lot of things, but I'm catching up. And so somebody's like, hey, you should check out, this thing. So let me just show you this thing. It's called Doconomy. Doconomy is, interesting. So I go to doconomy.com. It should be nice, right? Well, what is Doconomy? Doconomy is a credit card that you can get, apparently. And it's in partnership with the UN. That should be a warning sign right from the very beginning. Why would Mastercard, by the way, the Doconomy is a partnership with Mastercard. Let me show you this. Doconomy is a partnership with Mastercard. Global Climate Action with Allen Index. Allen Index has a CO2 emissions calculation. They do this. They do a partnership thing where you can calculate your CO2 emissions and all purchases that go into your CO2, and they can calculate everything. Basically, it's a social credit score. You're hearing a lot about that in the news these days. And so if you purchase a coffee, what goes into making that coffee, and they can go out and aggregate everything that went into making that cup of coffee, and they find out what your social credit score is based on that one cup of coffee. It's an interesting concept. China does this currently, and the World Economic Forum, Davos, and this group are trying to implement this on the Western world. We're starting to see this implemented through the UAE, and Brexit was able to stop that in the UK, and but they're really pushing hard to implement that. And then we're really seeing the Biden administration really press hard. If they are able to get HR1 through, they will implement this. I think they're going to try to push this through no matter what, because they do not care what the law of the land. We're starting to see this even more. The more and more things happen. We'll get into that here in a second. But Doconomy. So let's go into this a little bit more. What? It's just a global climate action. This is in partnership with the UN, and just the fact that, and we can go into what the World Economic Forum is. You can look at that, but I would highly encourage you to just do your own research. You can find a lot of this stuff on your own. But just the fact that the World Economic Forum is in partnership, they are basically one of the same. Davos, World Economic Forum, the UN, they're all in lockstep. They are functioning as the same thing. COP23, it's one of their programs under the UN. That is under it's the Glasgow Climate Change Conference, and it's basically, if I understand it correctly, something that happened between that's supposed to happen this year, and they're going to talk about basically how to take COVID-19 and use it to their benefit to push even more bullcrap through. That's my understanding. Or they did it. They did it, and then what they've learned from this last year, and how they're going to be able to just turn the screws even more. That's pretty clear. What I'm reading here, that's what they're pushing through. So the admission of the observer organization for COP26 review cycle for observer admission has been completed, and then this is what they're going to be pushing through. So that's what's coming up. So I mean, it's just like they've already put out the playbook. We know it's coming up, and then this is what they're going to be doing. So it's enlightening, but this all came through, like, my reading of this all became somebody's like, hey, look at this. This is interesting. Because of Mastercard. I guess they were looking at getting a Mastercard. They're like, what the crap is this? So this card isn't out yet. This is just a card that popped up on their radar because they're kind of the person that sent me this happened to be fairly hippie-ish, and they're very concerned with, and I have nothing wrong with that, but they are also right of center, but they are very concerned with their carbon footprint, but they're freedom-loving person. So they're like, dude, this is actually kind of concerning to me. And I'd agree with that. This is a very concerning thing. So it just kind of popped up on my radar. I'm like, wow, this is a interesting marriage. Now we do know that if you go to Davos.com and look at what they are doing and just who they've partnered, who they are partnering with, it's all the major companies. I think they officially, oops, that's not right. That's not right. Who they have partnered with. They have a top 100 list. And if you go through their top 100 list, and it's like Unilever and BP and all the companies that own lots of companies, and then that just kind of trickles down to all the economy. It makes sense when you start thinking about the social credit scores and all this stuff and the ESGs. That's really what this is about. This card is another ESG implementation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more of this as an implementation. This credit card, one of the things it says that they'll just turn it off if you get to your ESG limit. And we'll probably see that with Visa and Discover Card. And I know for a fact that they're doing that with Amex, which is kind of a scary thing. So, yeah. And my family, we only use one credit card. We don't have credit, really. We use one credit card. At the end of the month, we pay it off. We use that for a purpose, just because, and we use it as cash at the end of the month. And that's the only thing we do. And so for a family like ours, that's kind of concerning because they could basically just shut it off and then we're out of luck. Now we can basically use cash, but that's a big deal for a family like us that, we don't really use credit, but we need the credit effectively to keep the house running. And they're playing games. They're messing with households. They're screwing around, and a business that's trying to get up and running or that kind of stuff, they can just put the screws on. And we buy ammo or we buy a gun or whatever. They can approve or disapprove those kinds of purchases with these new ESG scores. This is not good. These are concerning things. So, anyways, just thought that this was an interesting thing. What do you guys think? Let me know. You can also go to paulprocess.com, and if you're on Facebook, you can get involved, become a supporter. That's going to help us pay the bills. Or if you want to give directly, you can do that on paulprocess.com. Consider going to built.com, built promo code Paul. You can put that in and get yourself a great Built Bar, which is delicious as well. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.